We get a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
We have a first from
Ron,
Ann Point
Want to
Dexter.
amend it to speaking order?
Yes,
I withdraw my motion.
withdraw your motion. From new business, we're gonna move the standard presentation after the before the director's report and after the items removed from the consent agenda.
So moved.
We have a first, and we have a second.
Second.
Casey Wilson, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And then we have the consent agenda in front of us. That includes the minutes from last month's Board of Trustee meeting, the claims and warrants from last month's financial report, and last month's bills list. And there was some personnel and policy minutes from April 27, 2026.
Move approval of the consent agenda.
Second.
So first from Ann Poindexter, second from John Williams. Everybody's all in favor, say aye. Okay, consent agenda passes. I see no items were removed from the consent agenda. And then under new business, we have a presentation from Jake Bates is going to talk about the possible usage of our parking spot. Welcome.
Is it okay if I stand up there?
Absolutely, yes.
Appreciate the Yeah, I think it's our total first floor spots is 62, so I'm not sure on that exact row. Um,
Control L.
20-ish, I would say, and then a little bit smaller in the middle, if that makes sense.
And I would just reemphasize, and I told you this when you let me know that you wanted to have this discussion with the library board, how essential the parking is. That parking lot is about 1/4 of our parking capacity. And now that we've operated here for 4 years, we understand that we have plenty of days, plenty of times where we come close to reaching capacity for just people doing things at the library. So it is absolutely essential that
How many
we,
spots are in there now?
it's about the same,
Yeah,
about
it's
that many.
it's 105.
Can you kind of go through each thing? And I can't read that. And I couldn't read it on the.
Just illustrate what the major areas are.
Where-
and just walk
Where's the
through.
retention pond right
Like
now?
what?
Yeah.
Like maybe starting from right to left.
well, it's from right to left, yeah, so this is the roundabout at the northwest corner of the library. So library here, roundabout,
That's Richland.
Richland Ave.
Okay.
The current outline of the 105 parking spots for the library is outlined right here on my finger. It goes, there's the entrance to the parking lot with the gate, and then it goes to north to Main Street, so it's right along this area. So the new library parking will roughly in the same location.
What's in front of that now on your,
Uh,
the
Retail,
building?
is that retail?
Yeah, is that retail?
oh, yes, that's retail, yeah.
Okay.
So these, we're visiting restaurants, shops, etc. And then right here, so this is all one, I'll call this one mixed use building, building A. Building A has retail along the front, retail shopping, along the west, a central garage that is wrapped throughout the building. So the garage goes up 5 stories. And then our multifamily leasing or amenity space will be in this southwest corner of building A. Then on the south portion of building A, we'll have 2-story townhomes. And then for 4 levels above the townhomes and the retail, we'll have multifamily apartments. So that's building A. In between building A and building B is a park. So it's a plaza, similar to.
That's what we saw.
Yes, exactly. That's what you were looking. You were standing right here
Right.
looking south. So that public plaza will have activation, retail will spill over into the plaza with seating. We obviously want to have a large number of community events. The Lions Club has indicated interest in wanting to do like their fish fry there, things of that nature. We are wide open to any type of, planning or events with the library if you all have interest on that plaza. Our standpoint is the more activation, the better, because you want to create energy and community within your development. So that's roughly an acre, public park plaza. To the west of that, we have building B. So in the front of building B along Main Street will be office. And there will actually be 2 stories of office. So we're hoping that one large user fills the entirety of the office.
No retail in that building.
There is 2 stories of office here, and then this retail, there is retail
Oh,
on the
only
eastern
on-
side.
Okay,
Yes, that will mirror this.
but not facing Main Street.
Correct, that'll be all office facing Main Street. We felt like having restaurants, shopping, etc. On both sides of the public plaza would be a really neat way to activate it. In the southeast corner of building B is more amenity space, so we'll have fitness center, etc. Whatever we don't have in our amenities for the multifamily apartments in building A, we will have in building B. Along the south side of building B, again, the first 2 floors will be 2-story townhomes for sale product. And then on floors 3 through 6 will be multifamily apartments. So they're very similar in structure.
What's the capacity of the apartments and the townhomes?
Capacity meaning just
How many?
overall count.
Yeah.
Yeah, so 216 apartments and 21 for sale townhomes.
And there's enough parking for all that.
Yes, absolutely. We're roughly 80 some spots over. So the city of Carmel has you do a peak parking study, where they see, okay, if you have X amount of retail, it's utilized the highest on, if it's dining Friday night, Saturday night.
But this, if this were to happen, you're gonna have the same problem we have, which is unique to this area. What are you gonna do about high school parking?
Yes, so we have, we're partnering with Denison to secure our lots, to secure both of the garages. So Denison Parking will be our monitoring, enforcing agency for the parking garages. We've utilized them in Westfield, for a project. They've actually done great. We charge, for monthly parking in Westfield, so monitoring and enforcing that is extremely important to our income. We are not charging for parking in either of the garages here.
It's just not a thing in Carmel.
Right, yeah, it's not. But we will have the same monitoring and enforcing from Denison that we have in our.
And okay,
garages.
and you noted on here that property management will monitor and enforce our spaces, but how would that work? What does that look like?
Yeah, so Denison, we generally pay for a full-time security guard for our parking garages. So how our parking garages work in Westfield and how we envision this one too is, they scan you. We have a license plate reader when you come in, so you can scan that to see via video how long they've been in the garage. You can generally track whether or not they are utilizing the retail space versus the library, usage. Honestly, it's difficult.
What about the high school usage?
Yeah, I think high school usage will be easier to identify.
Because I mean, right now in our 2026 budget, we allocate $100,000 to pay off-duty officers and try to enforce this and keep our lots clear.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to get an idea of how what you're describing would compare to how we currently do it.
Yeah, Denison's charging us a little bit more than that, but that is a similar setup as to what you have.
We could spend a lot more than that. I mean, we just have them here for certain hours. So it's not all day. It's in the school hours or we
Yeah. Yeah, so ours will be not 24/7, but close to it. We have a 12-hour agreement with Denison for on-site.
Because I mean, you potentially solved, part of the issue that we would have, and that the same amount of spots are there. I just feel like we need to be really sure that those really are going to be preserved for library parking, because this is a difficult area to enforce.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely,
if I take off my library hat, I loved your first picture. I grew up in Carmel. I love to see the downtown reinvigorated. I love new places to go and eat. When I put my library hat back on and you talk to me about enforcing parking by license plate readers, I want to pound my head on the table and to tell you very politely to please go away, because it's not going to work. You can pay 2 officers to go outside, and we're still not going to keep all the children away from the spaces. So the license plate readers are not going to do it. And if that's what you're telling me is the proposal from Denison, then right now you have 1 no with my library hat on. 1 no, because it will not work. We need the parking. That's the only additional piece of real estate we have. That's not a good enough answer for me.
In addition to the security,
Is there card access? Maybe, is there card access? Would that alleviate your concern?
How do you give enough cards?
I mean, if that's limited to staff, library staff, that lot over there, not for general public library.
I don't like that though, because we load a lot of materials in and out. Now we're way over there on a 2-story parking level that have to cross Main Street. And
The other thing that places do is when to your point, is you get a card and you go in, and when you use the library, they validate it. And then it opens
And what happens if you don't go in and validate it?
Then you pay.
then you pay
They will
her.
happily pay. They will happily pay. That will not be a problem for a lot of these students.
Oh, absolutely not.
Well, and they
Yeah,
not, then they
absolutely.
just can't get out.
They just can't get
I
out.
worry about how much congestion this is gonna add.
It's a lot of people.
Because we're gonna have another access road, another through street that goes onto Richland, correct?
Correct, yeah, First Street would go to Richland.
So there's gonna be another access there. There's gonna be, you already can't get anywhere in between 8:45 and 9:05 a.m. It's gonna add so much more congestion.
Yeah, the Richland
corner.
in school hours in the morning is completely congested and blocked. So that is another issue that this is just heavy traffic area. And at 4 o'clock, when parents are
Shuts
swarming
down.
here, parents will invade this.
Let's start parking there to pick.
Yeah.
Where's the hotel parking?
Yeah, hotel is captured within the garages as well. We will have valet service for the hotel, so specific designated spots on the top of the garage will also be for that.
Does that parking garage mirror the other side? Both sides the same?
Yeah, they're roughly the same size. This one's a little bit bigger just because of the footprint of the building. It's roughly the same size. And like I said, we're over parked per the Carmel parking regulations by roughly 80 spots at peak usage time.
Does anybody know if the design of our parking garage allows for expansion? Because, I mean, he's a developer. Maybe I tell him, if I were queen for the day, great, I'll sell you the parcel. All you have to do is build me 3 more stories on top of the parking garage we already have.
Oh. I
Can
consider
we go
that
that
option.
high then?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
We need to even go that high.
I talked with the civil engineer briefly about that. Generally, the weight load is designed for the height of the garage. But it is a thought, and we have not obviously studied the parking garage, but that was another idea that we had similarly, was expanding the height of the existing.
We also have the bottom lot though, too. Right? That's
It's
just,
in back,
yeah,
yeah. How many spaces are in it?
I'm saying go up on that.
Oh, above the empty lot, or not the empty lot, the lot.
Ground lot. Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe this is something you could go back to, but I mean, to Ann's point, I mean, we have to have pretty much absolute surety that those spots really are going to be there and usable for library parking, or we really goofed.
And I don't trust the kids. They're so smart. They're so smart, and they are so determined that they are not going to use the parking lot behind the high school.
It'll be a challenge.
Um,
And they outsmart police officers every day. We don't
They
catch them
do.
all.
And I have clients down Main Street that own some spaces and rent some spaces down the street that the police that don't remove the cars from the parking spaces that have students in them. I have thought about this issue, about how you're going to convince me, or how we give cards, or whether we can put staff, and I can't come up with a great
Yeah, I
idea.
mean, the other complicating factor is it's open public parking, and anybody can park and come in here. So you can't charge. There's not a good way to validate. We don't have great options to control this.
Seems like the best option is if we could add on somewhere back in here.
We're
And
landlocked, so it
just-
would have to be on top, and it sounds like your preliminary. I'll talk to our project architect tomorrow and ask.
How many spaces do you get per floor about?
I mean, we have about 215 spots in the garage, I think, so it's 3 floors.
About 70 something.
Yeah.
So you only need 2 more floors up there. 3 would be my preference
And we saw
over building
Yeah,
and
there's-
spaces. You know that concept.
the loading issue.
Well, if they just are only using it, but this open lot down here is open, right, to anybody.
Correct.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I put my engineer hat on, I think it would certainly be easier to go up on current land than it would be on existing garage. But if you are open to it and could share the garage plans from your architect.
But Jake, we don't have any open current land because what's to the south of that garage is the school's property.
He's talking about the parking lot,
Yeah,
the open parking lot.
yeah.
Next to it.
You just build on that. Yeah. Yeah, I guess possible.
Or maybe you could get the school to give us some more land.
I mean,
They have a
Maybe.
lot of it in front of the school there. Could you
What?
go get the school to give us some of the land so that we can help?
I can try.
well, I mean, they use our parking garage occasionally, which is fine with us when they have events. So, I mean, it would help them too.
How much land do they have?
Our parking garage is a little bit on their property.
Yeah, I remember
They
that.
just let us,
The loading dock over here on the open.
right, we have the loading dock, so that needs to stay intact. So that's an open lane that probably needs to stay. So
So it'd be
that
very
limits-
limited, where you could possibly even build.
I guess you would just maybe widen it and just bring it out that direction,
Widened up.
parking garage
I mean, yeah,
into the surface lot.
Oh, I see.
I agree with Ann. I mean, that sounds exciting as all get out, but it's just a matter of making it work. And certainly speaking, I would be willing to, whatever options that make sense that we can come up with, because that really ends up be a beautiful addition to what's already beautiful.
And it's just,
Sorry.
go ahead, Jay.
I mean, I think we have to solve the parking issue first. Then I think that's just the basis. And then we have to think about the fact that we are giving up land.
Well, that's what I was gonna say, and this, there may be other concerns if we're able, but the parking's, it's a non-starter until we're satisfied on that.
Have issues with a retention pond when we were doing new construction here.
Did we have issues with it?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the capacity was expanded, so they made it a lot bigger so we can help
Because we
handle
needed it,
more.
right?
Yeah.
So what's gonna?
Yeah, so the retention pond would actually go underneath the First Street Road. We would bury retention under our two garages. That's,
We need to know how that would affect our goal.
so our due diligence, we have retention, we have almost tripled the capacity of the retention pond there to underneath the buildings, so that it would fulfill the retention needs for existing plus all of the new development. So we should be okay from a retention basis, and that actually, allows the First Street to go through the pond right there. But that was one of our early analyses was, what are we doing with retention and how do we solve for that?
I think that is a neat element of it, that First Street runs through there, and that's something that's, potentially nice for the library to have another road that leads here.
Yeah, the idea, and we're pushing very hard for the city, this First Street to the west that runs, next to 1933 Lounge is not necessarily a great walkable street today. So, our push is, hey, we're trying to put in 200 million of investment into this area. Can you help work with us to create a walkable path from east to the Monon that feels special? And so, they've been very receptive. Civil's been very receptive. RDC, mayor, they've been very receptive to that early discussion. But yeah, that's a key piece of this is the renderings we showed the mayor was, say, looking from west to east, and you see the entrance of the library there, and flank on both sides to it, you have pretty neat architecture. I can say, yeah, so the first pass is not just the license plate readers, it's the license plate readers to full-time security individuals from Denison. We do have the green light from the city that they've said that the high school student is not a protected entity. So, you know,
You go ahead
going.
and tell the high school student.
Yeah.
Right, no, I
Actually,
actually,
I know they're
their craftiness, I don't want to undermine that, but, yeah, that's our proposal today is the 2 full-time security officers enforcing parking. The library parking spots, obviously having major signage to them, and then a license plate reader as additional backup to those enforcement officers.
2 full-time officers for the whole.
Correct, for the entire development, but again, we're worried about high school parkers in this parking lot as well,
And you
right?
should be.
Because
Yeah.
you don't want to be out of spaces for your hotel or multi-family tenants.
Yeah.
And if you get those parallel parking spots, they'll be problematic in the afternoon when people are picking their kids up.
It'd be problematic in the morning when the kids want to park in them to walk to the
Yeah.
high school. But,
Yeah.
so I appreciate that, and I'm not trying to be cranky or disrespectful to you, but to me, that's not enough on the parking. And again, it's because of the kids.
Yeah, absolutely. I think-
And their parents do think that they're a protected class and will defend their right to do what they want to do until kingdom come.
Okay, understood. Yeah, so we'll take that away. You know, I think when we think of options there, it's really, you know, 2 paths. We continue with the idea of library parking in this location with other measures, or it's library parking in a different location to offset. And so I think for this, let me take that away. And, you know, if you all are open to continue dialogue as to solutions, you know, talking to Dennison because they are experts in the field. I don't know if they've dealt with high schoolers like this.
I was gonna say, not with Carmel children,
Right.
they're not
Yeah.
experts, but I'll listen to you, yes.
So yeah, or, you know, hard access, things of that nature, even if it's gated for the library section, something of that, you know, normally Carmel City does not allow.
Well, gated wouldn't work anyway. I've thought that through. I don't see any way that we could make gates work either, because again, we're trying to keep the high schoolers out, but everyone else from the general public is welcome. So there's no way to gate it.
Tough delineation.
Yeah.
So that option A is, or option, one of the options is to look at other enforcement areas, acceptable to all parties. B is looking at potential other locations for parking. And if you all are open, you know, to sharing plans on the existing garage, I can do a full deep dive with our civil team.
It seems like you all would entertain the concept
Certainly
if
look at
it's
it.
workable.
Get all options on the table.
Yeah. And then, yeah, I don't know, space wise, I haven't studied what kind of structure you could do on the current level, parking, but.
Feel free to look at the school lot too,
Okay, yeah.
because I'm not opposed to you going to the school and asking for some.
So a question that I have for the attorneys is the scanning of the license plate, does that violate privacy for our patrons?
It's a good question.
It would violate our current privacy policy, so that would have to be resolved, I think, yeah.
You have to keep in mind, it's a public library, and as a public library, it enjoys First Amendment rights, and patrons' information is a protected right.
Understood.
To the point that, as I think, someone being in the library isn't in and of itself protected free speech. So we're not supposed to, I can't say, hey, everybody, Jake's in the library today. You know, we don't do that. So.
The hotel, Jake.
Yeah.
You're looking at a Hotel Carmichael type of hotel, boutique hotel, or what's the?
Goal is to be higher. So, yeah.
Carmichael would tell you there is no higher.
That's our goal. That's our goal. We're talking with Waldorf right now for that location.
Are they gonna have event space? So
Yeah.
also use that parking then?
Another really cool aspect of the Carmel Redevelopment Commission wants to have an office that also doubles as a public art space. And so they initially were asking for space in one of the retail areas. We thought, how neat would it be to actually put the public art as part of the hotel lobby? So about 5,000 square feet of public art space within the hotel lobby that's accessible in the hotel itself. And then, yeah, a rooftop venue will be paramount to this. We're putting a rooftop venue in our hotel in Fishers, and the feedback has been astounding. Obviously, 3-up is great, but it's, you know, second floor. We'd like to be up a little bit higher with really unique views out over downtown Carmel. So that'll be on the left wing, the west wing of the top of the hotel.
Keep
So-
thinking,
Yeah, we will.
keep thinking.
The only other thing I did want to leave about just was the, you know, to your point, the parking is just one part. You know, we also, there's more value there than just the parking to the land. And so if you all have seen these numbers, I think we're generally looking at a land lease. Talking with Bob, it was maybe more preferable to have a land lease than a one-time.
Well, I just thought it'd be helpful to see it as an option.
Yeah, either way works for us. So it truly doesn't matter. But from a land lease perspective, if we did space the payments out over 30 years, I structured it similar to a loan, right? And I estimated about a 7% cost of capital for the library. And so if you take the land valuation, it's not exactly 4.8, but 4.8 for ease of numbers, 2.5 million per acre, which is what we are taking down the other 2 parcels at. You back out the garage cost per spaces, which is 32,000, and that is just the hard cost per space. But we're not going to add in land value to that. The residual value after the parking cost is roughly 1.5 million. And if we time that out over 30 years with a 7% interest on that, it equals roughly 118,000 per year to the library. So yeah, that's just the other piece I did want to highlight there, because yeah, there is value over and above the parking itself.
Is there any possibility to do a ground lease, permanent ground lease, where the library still owns the land?
Into perpetuity.
Right.
I think we would be open to that. From a development perspective, our bank would require a long-term ground lease to view the land as fee simple or owned land. All that means is we would look for roughly a 99-year lease. If there is not an option to buy at the end of the lease, which is what we're looking for in this structure, we would need a long-term 75, 99-year ground lease. That would allow us to get the project capitalized. Yeah, I think we'd be open to that. I appreciate the time.
Good, thank
Obviously,
you.
a lot of
Thank
work still
you.
to do. But yeah, if you all are open to continuing communication, I think that's extremely helpful. Like I said, briefly timeline. If you know, our goal is to get the land generally under control, either not through true purchase and sale agreement, but at least through LOI by the end of the year. So that would allow us to then go to lenders, go to city council, you know, to work on our project agreement, to work on financing of the project. And that's on us to continue looking for solutions for the parking, but I'm not going to hide from it either. Construction will be a pain. It just is. You know, we're looking at an 18 to 24 month construction period for the entirety of the build out. So that's just part of the beast here. So not shying away from that, but yeah, 2029, 2030, you know, the neighborhood could be a little bit different.
What do you start with?
Yeah, so we'll actually start on the west side, moving east. Lions Club needs a new home before they want their old building torn down. So we'll start with that. At the same time, we're pushing the city to start with First Street early because the city can lag behind the private side a little bit. So ideally First Street and Lions Club would be first, and then we do a all at one time for hotel and buildings A and B.
Have you already got agreements from Lions Club and the apartment building too?
Yeah, so we have an agreement currently with the apartment building next door. Lions Club was going in front of their membership on Thursday. I'm still waiting to hear feedback from that, but I did a similar presentation to their board in early May, and had a lot of positive receptivity.
What are some of their issues?
Basically wanting a new home. They said they've been in that location for 100 years, and they want to stay in downtown Carmel. And so we felt like putting them in, we thought it was a great civic anchor to the development as well. And it's a pretty unique building. I can send you guys renderings, but Greek architecture, Greek revival architecture, something that has staying power for the Lions Club for the next 100 years was the pitch.
And the apartments have already sold?
Yeah.
No.
No, they haven't. We're gonna. Oh, sorry. You mean I thought you meant our new town. No, the apartments have not sold. We're under agreement with them now. We have a 6-month due diligence period.
Gotcha.
And so, we'll. That's kind of the idea to line up the execution of an LOI with you is tied to the timeline we have with the apartments.
All you gotta do is figure out our parking.
Yeah, and we are gonna temporarily lose parking, I guess, during construction.
Yes, absolutely. And like I said, I don't want to shy away from that. That is a pain.
It's a given though. I mean, if all that's going to be built, it is going to be some disruption.
Yes.
Swell.
I appreciate the time. Any other questions? Bob has my contact information. Please feel free to reach out. And hopefully we can continue working towards some resolution there and bring the neighbors next door.
Okay.
Thanks, you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Jay.
Yeah. Thank you. Good to see you.
It's a lot.
I have a question.
Yes.
To go to the table.
Bob, what do we do now to secure that parking?
What do we do now?
Yeah.
We station police officers there, primarily in the morning to
How long are they there?
generally, what is it, 7 to 10, something like that, but just long enough to try to ward off the majority of students. And it's gotten more difficult because there's a lot of flex schedules out there,
Right.
and they tell
Come
us
and go all day. So
I'm going in the library for just a couple of hours and then I'm going to school. But a lot of the officers catch them, not being honest about that, and they're actually going off for the school day and leaving their car here. And when they lie to a police officer and go to school for the day, they get towed if we're aware of it.
my point is, I mean, what they may come up with may not be 100% foolproof, but what we're doing now is probably not 100%.
What we're doing now is definitely not foolproof. And I get calls from people in the public that are frustrated and have to explain, we cannot catch every single one, but we definitely catch enough to where we have enough parking that people that want to use the library, there's available spots. And so, yeah, some slip through, but it's working enough that we have functional parking here.
So it could be in the same situation if they took over the supervision of that.
So our
Some
standard
might
shouldn't
slip
be
through,
perfect, but our standard, we don't want this to be worse. So we need to at least feel like it's as good as what we're currently doing. And it's good enough what we're currently doing. Really, they're more effective in that west lot, because then we have another officer over here. They've got this south surface lot and the 3 levels of the parking structures. That's how, I said earlier, the kids outsmart them. That's really not fair. It's not possible for one officer to really have eyes on that all at the same time, do our best. The west lot, it's more possible. So they're pretty effective out there in the morning.
Yeah, in that lot. I think.
Yeah.
You don't want my opinion.
Okay.
Well,
At some point, we will.
Congestion.
Congestion,
Yeah.
more people, that elementary school right behind our hotel.
I mean, this area is horribly congested already.
I can't get out of my neighborhood. until after 9:05. Like I cannot take a client appointment when school is letting out.
What do you think would happen if we said no? I mean, they still have a lot of yeses. I mean,
I don't know that there's a project without us doing this, but that's not necessary. That's not our concern. I mean, it's,
I mean, that's not our concern.
I really feel like that you have to believe that this is in the best interest of the library just in order to say yes.
And I have two concerns. One is the parking, but the other is, in all seriousness, that's the only additional real estate we have unless the school will sell or give us additional real estate.
Yeah.
And he's just said they're trying to buy up everything around here, so they're not.
And it's been years now, but a number of years ago, I did approach the church next door and asked their interest in selling. They are totally not interested. So that went nowhere.
of course, what we could always do is new locations if we needed to expand.
Well, but we need the parking again for this location. So we cannot lose that much parking. I think they need to come back and wow you with something that guarantees that parking's there. And then like we're saying, there are other issues, like Casey's point, I think is
It's gonna be a
legitimate.
mess.
Congestion.
High stories high.
And another through street is gonna
It's
flood Richland.
Yeah. Yep. A lot to consider. But I mean, so far they have not solved the parking problem. And that's after I told them that I advised them that, come to the library board having solved that. And he thought he did, but he didn't.
And Denizens are good at managing garages. But I meant what I said. I have no confidence in Denison managing a garage, keeping out the young people across the street.
They don't know what they're in for.
Their employees. No.
Sorry to, but Dennison is good at managing garages where people pay.
Hey,
And when they have an
They're
attendant.
good at
Yeah, that's a
managing
whole
garages.
different thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, not this.
That's right. That's not what they do. They don't try to enforce and bring open parking.
Yeah,
Maybe
just like you said, they managed one in Fishers where it's paid.
Yeah.
Right.
Uh-huh. This is not a Denison.
Hey, a lot to
deal.
think about. A lot.
Yes.
It's for my house before 2030.
Casey's. Okay. All right, shall we move on?
Yes.
Okay, director's report. Bob, do you have a director's report? I don't. Is there anything
Yeah,
on
it's in there. I don't have much to add. We're getting ready for summer reading, June and July. We're excited about it. We had our quarterly staff meeting last Tuesday and talked about it some. So we're gearing up for that. I had a chance to speak to the HCLA class on Thursday. They were here at the library and they gave me a whole hour. They asked me to speak about libraries as quality of space. I think it went okay. It's good talk. So I got to do that.
What's the summer library theme? Summer reading theme.
It's a dinosaur theme.
Look at my shirt. That's
Look at your shirt. Beth, what's our theme?
She's going to unveil it in just a moment.
She's going to unearth the theme.
Jurassic Park.
woohoo.
And our own graphic designer designed that. So we use this summer reading theme of the state, but we kind of do our own graphics.
So your presentation went well.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was good. Good talk.
Did you give them a tour of the library?
They did that on their own before I got to them at 1 o'clock, and they've been here all morning, all day. So yeah, they were here from 9 to 2.
I have one request to add to the director's report. There was like a blurb on there, and I think there is a blurb on there every month when you do it about
Questions asked.
I know.
What's that spot called in the front where they do all that?
Digital
Thank you, the digital media lab. I just had a brain fart for a second. There is a blurb on it, I think every director's report on digital media lab, like usage wise. Could we see like a trend?
Yeah. I'll invite either Peter, our IT manager, or Langford, our DML supervisor, to come give a report along with it. You can ask some
I'm
questions.
guessing it's increasing, but I just can't remember and didn't look back at it. So
Yeah, I think we've had some pretty busy months, and I think we have probably, hit some peaks.
that'd be great. Thanks.
Thank you. We get a motion to accept Bob's director's report.
So move.
We got a first from Stephanie. Second from Casey. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any trustee liaison reports?
No.
Staff reports.
We have Allie Muterspaw with us, Adult Services Assistant Manager. She's been on the AI team for has it been over a year? We've been discussing AI issues for quite a while, but probably not quite that long, but it feels like it. But we've been discussing all kinds of things, including the policy. So Allie's been very helpful in finding things in the policy and helping us shape that. But we've also discussed training for staff, training for the public, guidelines, all of these different issues around AI, and it's just a moving target. But I did ask Allie, I felt like I noticed that we've had classes in the library that, things like how to use AI for everyday tasks at home, or how to use AI for, specific purposes. But I feel like it'd be helpful to have a general, what is AI? What are the issues around AI? What are the concerns? What is the potential? Just more of a overview. I'm not sure that the public at large, what are the opportunities to learn about and have these discussions? So I think that's important too.
AI for dummies.
Yeah. And so she's worked on that. And so she's sharing some of this with you tonight.
Okay, great.
Nice to meet you all. My name is Allie. I've been in my role for almost a year and a half here at the library. While I am on this AI policy committee, my primary role is overseeing programs for adults. So I help with all of that. I also help Beth a lot with our reading program. So I'm excited to talk to you all today. Okay, so I wanted to give a brief policy timeline. So even though it has felt like for over a year since we've been discussing AI formally as a committee, our first meeting was in October 2025. In November, we discussed the idea at leadership of having an AI policy, a board-approved policy. And throughout that, we decided to conduct a staff AI usage survey just to get a flavor of what people use and their personal and professional goals, everything like that. And I'll go over a little bit of that as well. December, we followed up as a committee. And then we kind of sat on it for a little bit, kind of took the results of this survey. It's like, what are we going to do with this information now that staff have, kind of given us their opinions on AI and how they use it? April 2026. So the second policy draft was presented to leadership, presented, as Bob mentioned, to the board personnel committee. And then May, and I'll kind of talk about this, me, Brian Grauman, Peter Konchak, our IT manager, and Langford Lessenberry from the Digital Media Lab, we kind of did sit down and have a meeting and go, how are we going to sort of roll out some training plans, some staff guidelines, presuming that this policy would get approved.
I should add, Brian Grauman is with us. He's here beside me. He's been helping with the tech.
Okay, so a little bit more about this usage survey. We had 75 staff members complete the survey, which honestly I think is a much larger amount than I expected to. And I won't go through like all 17 questions or whatever we gave you, but I'll go through some of the important ones. Some things we asked are, how familiar are you with AI? Do you understand what it means? Is it a bit of a nebulous concept for you? Something we also asked is, what kind of tools do you use? Unsurprisingly, in I would say both professional and personal use, ChatGPT and Google Gemini were the most common answers. Especially ChatGPT by far. With Gemini, whenever you pop up Google AI overviews, that is Google Gemini. So whether you intentionally interact with it or not. People are seeing Gemini quite often, especially when we're at the public services desk and we're Googling something for a patron. Google AI overview just pops up. And we all are also having conversations about library vendor software. So more of the vendors that the library pays for, like Libby and Hoopla, are coming out with AI tools. So we asked, what do people interact with? Adobe Photoshop was really common. A lot of our patrons at the Digital Media Lab use that. There are some AI editing tools embedded into Adobe Photoshop. I interact quite a bit with patrons who use Libby because it's called InspireBee. It's an AI reader's advisory tool. Of course, we always recommend you give us a call if you're curious of what your librarians would recommend. But that is, I think that launched not too long ago, actually. It's only been launched in the past like 4-ish months. And of course, Microsoft Copilot, we use Outlook, we use Teams, we use SharePoint. So Copilot pops up in a lot of editing tools for Microsoft Word and also just general queries. And kind of the most, I guess, eye-opening questions that we asked were basically, would this even be helpful? Like, would creating a training guidelines or like staff guidelines for their use and internal use be helpful to staff? So our first question, or one of the questions we asked was, do you think CCPL should consider writing organizational guidelines on staff AI usage? 40 staff members said yes. 4 did say no, and 28 said maybe. So we kind of took that as like the majority, for the most part. People would be interested on having a little bit more guidance on what are some best practices for staff and stuff that wouldn't be considered the best practices. And another question is, would training sessions be helpful that cover, searching tips and pitfalls, features in our software tools, like I mentioned, Libby, Copilot, addressing bias and fairness in AI, and overwhelmingly people said yes. 59 staff members said yes, and 9 said no. So I met with, I met with some people, including Brian. So Brian's primary role is training staff. So when we're kind of thinking about what would be the most useful thing for us to do in post passing a formal board approved policy, we decided that creating internal guidelines for AI usage is a good place to start, because it's kind of hard to talk to staff about being educated on AI if we don't have some semblance of guidelines addressing the different common ways that we would see AI in our tools that we use and the way we interact with patrons. And even AI in itself, it's like a pretty nebulous, it's kind of a nebulous concept. It's like Bob said, it's a moving target. So our big concern when creating these guidelines, so we were thinking addressing that the concern for privacy and personal information is a must. So let's say not putting patrons' personal data into an AI tool, not misusing any of that information that we are providing with from the public, addressing it in our vendor software, like I mentioned before, and addressing patron interactions. So that's at our desks, in our programs, and the way we teach AI to the public, and also in our collections. So that means our electronic databases and vendors, along with, hey, maybe what happens if we're noticing AI generated images on books that we're interested in purchasing. And we also thought this would be able to address back of house tasks. So communications, our marketing, technical services, and the way that we catalog books, that we put them onto our website, and our individual tasks. So things that you're not necessarily working with a patron with, or you're not working in a big committee. It's like cleaning up, your email writing or something like that. Like, how do we address all of these different things? And we decided that guidelines are a good way to take a look at what we're doing, because they are very easy to adapt. So if another one of our databases that we purchase puts an AI tool, puts an AI tool in for the public to use and for staff to use, it's good for us to figure out a way to train staff on it. And so I will say this training plan is a little bit, because once we create these guidelines, we will get a better sense of how we would like to implement this training plan. Establishing a common baseline of knowledge of AI. So this means terminology, introduction to concepts, important context and history. Not all of us in staff know this, so we have to make sure, or do our best to make sure that some staff know what a hallucination is, some staff understand misinformation and bias in AI. We feel like that's really, with any of our technology, that is important, but in one that doesn't have a lot of regulation, we also feel that that is important for us. And something, we also discussed, like I mentioned, was, addressing AI tools versus like how, if I'm interacting with a patron and they're asking me a Google question, Google AI overview will pop up. But hey, let's teach staff, like, it's really important to still verify your information and where those, where that blurb is coming from when, it's giving you certain facts. Basically just making sure that staff verify their information with authoritative resources, which is what we as a library are supposed to do. And recognizing AI generated materials. So we see this a little bit in some of our electronic library, our ebooks and our e-audiobooks. So sometimes we are starting to find more AI generated materials in those and trying our best to address how we assess those materials, speaking to patrons about it, because I know some of our managers have gotten questions about AI generated art on books, and pretty much just preparing the best we can to help, like, for us to be able to help staff, to help patrons. And yeah, and we're just going to try to evaluate effectiveness the best we can. I know we are all inundated with surveys, but surveys are important, and evaluating the understanding of established baseline knowledge. So we can say we're teaching a class on common terminology around AI, but we need to make sure that staff actually understand what that means. And something that I always find is really important as a manager is direct feedback. One-on-one and group conversations are really important to me. And if I'm thinking about, at the service desk, I'm trying to assess the training relevancy to patron interactions. So it's like, okay, we taught you this Google class. Do you find it helpful? Or when you speak, are speaking to patrons, is this something that we need to keep doing? Is this an idea that we need to keep building on? And like Bob said, this truly training in AI is pretty much a moving target. We've kind of even been talking about this when writing the policy itself, is that it's hard to get into, and as EJ knows, EJ's on the committee as well, getting into very particular specifics in the board approved policy, because they're, like a lot of different technologies, things are subject to change.
I do see our policy is, it can do what a lot of policies do. It's an anchor where we can work around it. And
that's pretty much what I've got for you. It was short and sweet. I don't know if you have any questions for me or for Bob about it. Here, I'm gonna get that to you.
well, I just have a question. So when you get to the point where, if you're doing an AI training thing with the public, how do you see your approach?
That's a good question. That's something I'm working on with one particular speaker in my role. So something I always do is I'm vetting the presentation and making sure that some things are addressed, like, of course, the practical uses that people commonly use it for. So editing emails, things like that. But also something that's really important to establish is ethics and bias and misinformation.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's probably something we would write about in those guidelines is, hey, if you're going to talk about the ethics of AI, like any other tool, you've got to talk about the potential inaccuracies of it as well. Yeah.
And you talked about including common terminology so that people know, just have a baseline understanding of some terminology in AI.
Yeah, so when I know what hallucinations with AI are, but I can see how some people might find that term confusing, because really a term I think is probably more accurate in ways it's misinformation, right? We don't usually associate hallucinations with technology because it can't actually hallucinate. So helping provide some context as to why these terms are used and about how AI has been I know it's been a buzzword or a buzz term for the past 5 years, but it's been around a little longer than people realize, and our chatbots and, you know, your Alexa speaker at home or your Echo speaker at home. So, you know, yeah, I think that's a really important thing. Is like, it's not brand new per se. Of course, it's always changing, but it's been around longer than me.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
Do we have to take any action on this today, Bob, or anything?
No, that was just, we'll talk from her.
Okay, great.
Let me do the action. I'm supposed to pick up my son at 6:30.
Okay. That's good. So we have some, we can jump, we'll go back to T. Well, we don't think anything in T council. Renovations pretty much done. Old business, AI policy action.
It's in the board packet for
Yes.
potential approval.
And like you said, that's going to be a building block and it's going to be a lot of change.
It is going to be a building block, yeah. And I just feel like the policy and Ally helped a lot on that. Beth, EJ, the leadership team, there's a lot of input, but I mean, it kind of is just reiterating kind of some of the ethics behind this, that, you know, it's important for the library to protect patron privacy, for the library to respect intellectual property, things like that. And so the way we use AI, we're trying to make sure that it's not something that, you know, steps on any of our other policies or values.
Move approval.
Okay, got a first from Ann,
Second.
second from Stephanie. All in favor for the AI policy, say aye. And then the nominating committee,
Can you pull that up, Brian?
got a few more minutes.
Yeah, I told him I was gonna be late.
We're almost done. We do have a quorum though, to be delayed.
Yeah, we do.
So you have one more official
Board meeting?
board meeting. So you are not on this.
Oh, no.
How do you like that? Yeah, you're off. So that because Ron is rolling off, this was a big change in the proposed officers. I've had some discussions with all involved, so I don't think anybody's surprised, but the proposal for 2026 through 2027, go back up, Ryan. Stephanie Kim, president, Ann Poindexter, vice president. Casey is staying as secretary. That's the major officers. And then we have pretty much kept the committees as they were and just removed Ronj. And we've had 4 people on some committees, so we had some, it's not necessarily a problem that he rolled off with some of them. And what do we have to do, Ann, where they would vote on this slate and accept this and then
Go ahead
vote
and
on it
accept
next
this, and
month?
also, just so we make full disclosure, the bylaws do require that the nominating committee, when they submit this slate of officers at our annual meeting, which is the May meeting, that part of the nominating committee was to include 2 past presidents. But that's, as a practical matter, has not occurred. But the bylaws also state that the board can suspend certain rules and regulations if they by a majority vote. So I think what Bob and I thought, I think the best way to do is, if you were to approve this slate of officers, that you would approve it understanding that there were no 2 former past presidents on the nominating committee.
Yeah, simply wasn't possible because we don't have past presidents on the board.
And just to give you a little bit of background, Bob and I talked about earlier, is that I will prepare a proposed amendment to the bylaws just to address that. And we'll get that out to you, and we can get that approved, and we'll get that amendment approved next board meeting.
Sounds like a plan.
So moved.
Okay, we got a first from Ann.
Second.
Second from Casey. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And then what else? We have new business standards of conduct.
This should be pretty quick. We discussed it last month. That's in the board packet. I don't know if we can turn to that, but it was just a couple of little additions. Mostly the main changes on the list of things that are prohibited. And our current version, it just says soliciting, the word soliciting. So
Now we
that
can-
soliciting is prohibited. So we expanded that where it now says, the
No
draft says
proselytizing.
soliciting, what's prohibited, soliciting, selling, campaigning, proselytizing, or distributing printed materials without prior library approval. The one on word on this one that I did want to pause on is, can we include campaigning in that? I know there's certain,
I think I don't see any concern with,
okay.
because I think that makes it very clear.
My question is why without prior library approval? Or is that any time you want to approve distributing materials?
Well, not that I can think of, but if there were, I mean, but it's not something we're going to be doing on a regular basis.
But
So
why
may
invite?
not be needed, to your point.
That was my only question. But
And-
move approval.
Okay, we have first from Ann,
Second.
second from John. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. We have saw the presentation already from Standard and then Environmental Stewardship Committee appointment. Oh yeah, you mentioned that. You have somebody from the library.
Yeah, this is
Waiting for that.
the last action item. It's like I reported this in the director's report, but this is the city's former climate advisory committee. They just changed the name of it. Amanda has been attending a lot of these as liaison. She just recently completed a college degree that environmental studies related. And she's a good candidate. I've met with Debbie, her manager, and Amanda, and it's no problem as far as her work here at the library to do it. So that would be recommendation.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, I got a first from Ann, second from Casey. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. See, Stephanie. Is it possible for Amanda to come sometime to report to the board?
Of course, yeah,
Kind of some feedback on what's going on.
absolutely.
Okay, anything else? Right, it is